that you will notice if you have one of these is that the hood pins are absolutely awful. And I'm looking at you on this one, Polaris. This design is subpar for what the rest of the vehicle has. Underneath here, it's dirty as sin because the last time that we came home, I did not want to take this thing off and clean under there. So I want to get it to the point that this comes off fairly easily. And we don't want it to come off, you know, while we're on the trails or anything like that. So we need some positive engagement here. So what we're going to try to do is put this black piece on this orange piece, and we're going to use this peg to retain the hood here. So what we're going to do is pull these latches out from the bottom side, and we are going to position these pegs in the holes that came with the machine, and we're going to make this work. And we should maybe go ahead and address the elephant in the room, because it's about the size of an actual elephant. So,
and the color of an elephant.
And the color of an elephant, ironically.
As it turns out.
Follow me. Is a 2019 Ram 2500. Oh, hey, it knows I'm here. And it has the 6.7 liter Cummins turbo diesel. It's got about 845 foot-pounds of torque. So it will tow pretty much whatever we want to put behind it, which is a nice thing to have. It's a big vehicle. So there is another vehicle on the other side of this thing, and you can't even see it, I'm certain. There's my daily driver, which is a Toyota Camry, sitting completely on the other side of this thing, all the way masked by the fact that this thing is gigantic. So the truck is just under 20 feet long, and we're really excited about this thing. It's got off-road package, so that'll be really nice when we're trying to pull a trailer through a nasty parking lot at an off-road park, or you know, if it takes a little bit to get to a trail. We've got that ability to you know, exercise our tow vehicle a little bit more than maybe what we previously would have with the Cayenne. Certainly not knocking the Cayenne. The Cayenne was a great vehicle. We really enjoyed the time that we had with it, but this is a little bit more purpose-built for what we're going to be doing with it. Having said all of that, we're going to jump back into what we're doing with the RZR right now. We got this piece off, and what we're going to do is come in and we're going to remove, and I've already jostled this one loose, so it's going to be a little easier to remove. We're going to remove these rubber grommets and get in there, and this latch is going to come through perfectly. And so you're watching this and you're probably like, man, there's no way that it's perfectly sized for that random piece of metal that these guys bought off of Amazon. And you'd be wrong. You would actually be wrong. It is 100% perfectly sized. We did a little bit of test fitting beforehand. I'm going to pull these out and struggle with it on camera, of course. Perfect.
Got it.
And then that just pops right out. So, ta-da! Pegs are actually going to kind of come up like my fingers, and then there's going to be a little cap that retains the hood. So one of the things that we immediately noticed when we opened this hardware was there's a couple of retainer nuts, and the retainer nuts use these washers, and they're, I don't know, ½ inch, so something like that. We're just going to use the other washer and a well-placed hole in the white body piece to sandwich it in there. It's cold, cut me some slack. There's gonna be a hole that's gonna go through. We're just gonna sandwich it. It's gonna protrude up. It's gonna be completely adjustable, which is a way better situation than what we were talking about. And we just gotta make sure that we have things in the right spot. So before we go drilling holes, we're gonna measure twice. In order to get this lined up, you're gonna need to put the hood on without anything on it. And what we're trying to ultimately do is get something that is straight down the center. Push up here on the front. Try to get these gaps down here, or up here in the back, as small as possible. And this is a molded plastic part, so it's not gonna be exactly perfect. Mark it if you have to, if you trust yourself drilling straight into it, and get it so that you have that peg that we talked about, this guy, coming straight out of the middle. We're gonna get these holes drilled. We're gonna put the peg in, the hood pin that's gonna come out. We're gonna put in the retainers. We're gonna Loctite everything in, and we'll be good to go. We have a bingo.
Voila.
So what's gonna happen, and I'll try to demonstrate this with this other one, is all you're gonna have to do, if again, you're playing along at home, is adjust the height by moving the two nuts. If you want it to be shorter, you're gonna move this one up, and you're gonna smash it with the one on the bottom. And if you want it to be taller, you're gonna move it down, but you're gonna need to move the bottom one first. And it's gonna make it so that it protrudes more or it protrudes less. Pretty cool. I think we need to bring them up just a smidge here. So right now, the way that we've got it situated, and again, it's still a little loose, we are at about the right height on this passenger side, and we are still just a little tiny bit too tall on the driver's side. So we want to bring that down just a little bit, but we're basically at the point where this is in pretty good shape now. So to get it off, it's literally going to be this, and then you're going to kind of have to wedge a finger under this edge here, and it's going to come up and it's going to come out. So heck of a lot easier than dealing with trying to line up those J clips or L clips that are in the stock setup. So we'll get the heights squared away, and once we do that, we should be in good shape.
Seems like you want a tiny bit of play there at the top so that you can get your finger under there.
Yeah, a little bit. You don't want a ton though, so
yeah,
that's part of the whole problem with fitment So like car fenders and that whole thing, they can be a little bit hit and miss when you have a lot of gap there. So something you really don't want to have is, you know, a ton of play in what you're putting together. Snug. That's it. So we're gonna go and probably undo a little bit of this. I'll probably mark the heights with a Sharpie so that we can get everything back in. And we're gonna put some Loctite on the threads, and we're gonna call this project done. So if this has been helpful for you, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you tell your friends. If it hasn't been helpful for you, sorry. It was one of the things that we wanted to do to make this thing easier to work on. It's not perfect, but you know, it gets the job done pretty well for what we're trying to accomplish. Appreciate you watching, appreciate you spending your time with us, and be sure to check out our other videos. Thanks.